Hi guys, one of the questions I kind of see in looming groups or even that I've gotten privately is, can I take a pattern that was done on a specific loom and do it on a different loom? And my response to that is typically you will need to change things up. If somebody did a pattern on a Nifty Knitter loom and you're trying to do it on like an all-in-one loom, the gauge is going to be different. Remember the space between the pegs. So that means you may need to not double up your yarn as they may have done, or not use a bulky yarn again as they may have done. You may have to adjust how many rows you do. You may have to adjust how many you can, if it's a hat, we'll say, and a Nifty Knitter loom has X amount of pegs around, you either can get that same amount around, but you're going to notice a big difference. 40, we'll say, pegs on a Nifty Knitter loom is different than 40 pegs on an all-in-one loom. So your pattern's got to be modified. So a lot of times that's what I tell people is like, you're going to work the pattern and you can take that idea from that pattern and try to modify it to a different loom, but it may look a little different. It's going to be, like I said, it's going to look different because you're using two separate type of looms, whatever loom you're going from. And you have to adjust to that. If they did so many rows of garter or purling, you may need to adjust that to get the same kind of look that they had in their original pattern. So it is a little tricky, and sometimes it can be very easy. Some people are really great at taking one pattern and move it right on to the other with no problems and already knowing kind of what they want to do to adjust. I don't always show a pattern being able to be done on more than one loom, because typically when I finish a pattern, I'm kind of done with it. I don't typically make it more than once for any reason. Sometimes I do, but most of the time I make the pattern once. I don't necessarily play around with it on other looms because I like the way it looked on that particular one. So again, if you're going to try to take a pattern from one loom and use it onto another loom, I would also make sure to give credit to the original person that made the pattern, just to say that you were inspired by them and you took that, took their pattern, but you wanted to do it on a different loom and you had to adjust. So give credit, because I do hate when people don't give credit to the people that actually did, we'll say, the original pattern. It's really important to make sure you give credit where credit is due. So again, when you're transferring from one type of loom to another, keep in mind of the gauge, keep in mind of how many rows you may have to modify, keep in mind of the yarn they used. If they were using a bulky or a one strand, you may need to adjust, again, going whatever way. If you're doing an all-in-one pattern, all-in-one loom pattern to a Nifty Knitter, you're going to need to adjust the type of yarn you use given the gauge. So again, it can be tricky, but don't let that stop you. Do not let the idea of like, oh my goodness, there's too much stuff to figure out, I can't transfer it. Just takes time. Just kind of think it out through, like, okay, if they did this many, I can try that many, and you'll have an idea. I mean, you can even just try to do their pattern exactly as they did and see what the product looks like on the different loom, and that visually might say, okay, if I do this again, I know what I need to change. I need to add spots here, I need to take away there to get the similar look that they did in their pattern. So again, remember these things, and hopefully it helps you to take one pattern from one loom and use it onto a different loom. And if you have any questions, make sure you comment down below and I'll do my best to answer you. I do try to respond as quickly as I can. I don't always have all the answers. I'm still learning as you're learning. So again, I hope this helps, and don't let it discourage you. Again, don't get discouraged. It's very easy to in looming, but the idea is there's always going to be kind of some solution we can come up with. And again, it's just thinking of those factors of the gauge, the yarn they used, the loom they specifically used. So again, it's doable. It's just going to take a little tweaking. I hope this helps, and I hope you have a great day. And make sure you hit that subscribe button down below, and don't forget the bell icon too to be notified whenever I put a new video up. And have a great day, everyone.